My dear students, today I am explaining about section session 17. Under that, preference share and different types of preference share. First of all, the meaning of preference share. Preference shares are those shares who have a preferential rights on claiming of dividend over the equity share and capital at the time of liquidation. In other words, preference shares are those which have a preferential rights to the payment of dividend during the lifetime of the company and the preferential right to the return of capital when the company is wound up or wind up. Next, under that, different types of preference share. Normally, preference share may be cumulative and non-cumulative preference share, participative and non-participative preference share, convertible and non-convertible preference share, redeemable and irredeemable preference share. Under that, first one is cumulative and non-cumulative preference share. Cumulative preferential holder who are entitled to receive the arrears of preferential dividend before any dividend is paid on equity share. That means this cumulative preference share having a right to collect arrears of dividend if company does not pay any dividend in any year other than equity share. That type of preference share is called as cumulative preference share. Non-cumulative preference share. In case of non-cumulative preference share, arrears of dividend do not cumulate, do not added, and hence if the dividend is to be paid to equity shareholder in any year, dividend at the fixed rate for only 1 year will have to be paid to preferential shareholder before equity share before equity dividend is paid. Remember that non-cumulative preference share, they had a right only to receive current year dividend but not arrears of dividend. Number two is participative and non-participative preference share. First of all, preference shares means they had a right to collect the dividend and capital at the time of winding up. Participative means here participative preference shares are not only entitled to fixed rate of dividend, but they had a right to receive any surplus profit which remains after dividend has been paid to a certain rate to equity shareholder. They had a right to participate in the surplus profit of the company. That type of preference share is called as participative preference share. Non-participative preference share are those share who does not entitle to participate on profit of the company, profit surplus profit of the company after remaining to paying to the equity shareholder. This non-participative preference share having a right to receive only current year or any year dividend. Convertible and non-convertible preference share. Convertible preference shares are those preference shares who had a right to receive the dividend and capital. In addition to that, they can be converted into equity share according to the terms of issue. This preference share can be converted into either equity share or any other form of a dividend. That type of preference share can be called as convertible preference share. And then non-convertible preference share. Non-convertible preference shares are those preference shares who, who had a right to collect the dividend and capital, but under this type they does not have a right to convert into any other form of it may be equity share or a debenture. It cannot be converted in any other form. So holder of non-preferential share do not enjoy any such rate of conversion. Redeemable and non-redeemable. Redeemable means paying back. Redeemable preference shares are those preference shares. The amount can be returned by the company to their holder within the lifetime of company, subject to the terms of issue and fulfillment of certain legal condition laid down in section 80 of Companies Act. Redeemable preference share means they had a right to redeem. The company can redeem. The company can pay back the capital to the preferential shareholder within the life of the company. That type of preference share is called as redeemable preference share. Whereas in non-redeemable preference share, non-redeemable preference shares are those preference shares they cannot redeem, pay back, cannot pay back within the life of the company. That type of preferential capital can be called as irredeemable or non-redeemable preference share. So next, equity share. Equity share is also called as ordinary share or simply share, owner share. Under the equity share, we does not have any different type. We have only one share, that is equity share, owner share, ordinary share, or those share which are not preference share. It is paid after the fixed dividend of fixed rate of dividend has to be paid to preference share. The rate of dividend on equity share is not fixed and depends upon the profit available and intention of the board. So here the dividend will be recommended by board meeting. But in case of preference share dividend is already mentioned at the time of issue of a share. So preferential shares have fixed dividend, but equity shareholder does not have fixed rate. It varies from year to year. So here under the equity share, we does not have different types, only one ordinary share, equity share or simply share.